my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy Sister. We're continuing with the Lovers Pentacle 3. This is Chapter 2, Strength. Carina was a 25-year-old maiden with petite build, a well-toned body, raven hair, expressive hazel eyes, honey-colored skin, and curly brown hair. She had been friends with Kain since high school, and they would date whenever Carina was in between boyfriends. As soon as she felt better about the breakup, she would leave Kain for someone more passionate. This toxic codependent relationship had finally ended with the arrival of Bruno. Bruno was a sophisticated, smooth-talking lawyer, and he had paid for law school by playing football. He had a beefy olive-skinned body, shorty curly hair, and intense green eyes. Carina and Bruno now lived together, and in order to strengthen the relationship, they were taking their nieces and cousins to the twins' birthday party. Bruno wasn't happy about having Carina interact with his nieces, and he wanted to keep his life in Missouri separated from his life in Miami. Carina went off to chat with Kain while Bruno busied himself with the children, and she found it amusing to see Bruno playing with dolls with his nieces. Bruno had once told Carina that he wanted a lot of children. At first she thought he was jesting, and now that she saw him with his nieces, she was starting to worry. The guy really did want 10 children, and Carina only wanted 2, at the most 3 if she advanced far enough in her career. She tried to remember the look in Bruno's eyes and the tone he used when he told her that truth, and this conversation happened months ago, and try as she might, she couldn't remember how he looked or sounded. Carina decided to stop nitpicking her relationship. Everything was fine. "Have you seen Malik?" asked Carina, looking about. "He's in there. At least his little sister is here," said Kain, pointing to the bouncy house. Malik was Carina's first boyfriend, and the two broke up because Malik had supposedly cheated on her. And years later, he told Kain what truly happened. He had been dragged and forced to mate against his will, and Carina no longer resented Malik. She pitied him, and she hated herself for not being there for her boyfriend when he needed her the most. And she had ruined her first serious relationship due to her lack of faith in the strength of their bond. At the moment, she was starting to worry that she was making the same mistake again. Carina left Kain inside to go speak with Malik. The bouncy house was a complete chaos, and due to her petite size, she was having a difficult time maintaining her balance. And after getting tossed about, she gave up on looking. And on her way out of the bouncy house, she saw Malik going down the inflatable slide with his little sister. Carina went out to speak with Malik, and based on her serious expression, Malik could tell that Carina wanted to talk about the past. Since the past was a sore topic, he retreated back into the bouncy house with his sister. Carina sighed with frustration, and as of lately Malik seemed to be avoiding her. She returned to Kain's side to continue gossiping. "Did you already meet your blind date?" asked Carina after sitting down. "Yeah, she didn't like me, so she made up a flimsy excuse not to see me ever again," said Kain. "But why? You look cool," asked Carina, totally rocking Kain's new look. "Some chicks just don't like cool," said Kain, shrugging his shoulder. "And I don't even care, Carina. That woman has a temper, and when we were introduced, she was yelling at her cell phone like a maniac. And I do not know who she was talking to, but that behavior is not normal." "Someone who visits a shrink isn't in a position to decide what is normal or what is not," retorted Carina. "And perhaps she was talking to her ex-husband, and maybe the bastard isn't paying her alimony. It's too soon to judge." "I suppose," said Kain. "And do you want me to talk to her? Maybe I can get her to change her mind," offered Carina. "Nah, don't bother. I'm already over it. And I have 2 movie tickets and a dinner reservation. Do you want them, Carina?" asked Kain. "I'm sorry, I can't accept them," said Carina, pointing to the nieces and nephews. "We are on babysitter duty, and this is good practice for when I give birth to my entire baseball team." "Bruno wants that many children?" asked Kain, laughing. "I'm afraid so," said Carina, rubbing her tummy. "Speaking of babies, hey, Eugenia, you finally made it." Eugenia walked into the garden with her fiancé, and she was a ginger-haired, blue-eyed, freckle-faced, skinny twig with the body of a fashion model, and she sported a floral boho dress, a sun hat, and sandals. Trailing behind her, carrying the birthday present, was her fiancé Santiago. Both had been friends since children, and he was a beefy brunette with honey-colored skin, a strong jaw, and a mustache for the ladies. Eugenia smiled warmly when she saw Kain. The light returned to Kain's eyes when Eugenia walked towards him, and she hugged Kain in a maternal fashion before kissing him on the cheek. That's a Hispanic way of greeting people. Kain gave a sad smile before giving her a chaste kiss on the cheek, and it took much self-control to keep himself from crying. Eugenia danced with Kain for a few songs, and Santiago wasn't much of a dancer, but he moved well in the bedchambers, and she talked about the pregnancy while Kain talked about his artwork. As far as his police work, he hadn't done anything exciting lately, just donut runs and traffic tickets. The party progressed at a leisurely pace, and Santiago, finally becoming jealous, went to dance with Eugenia. Eugenia giggled with delight seeing how flustered her fiancé had become, and he was truly trying his best to mask his infantile rage at seeing her dance with her ex-boyfriend. In order not to be a third wheel, Kain went to play with his cousins, and the children had relocated indoor, and Hannah and Anna were showing Jeffrey their Barbie collection. The dolls were well kept in spite of the fact that the girls played with them on a regular basis. "Here, you can be Ken," ordered Hannah, giving one of her Ken dolls to Jeffrey. "My father doesn't let me play with dolls," said Jeffrey, returning the Ken doll. "Your father isn't around," insisted Hannah, giving Jeffrey her Alan doll. "So play with us." "No, I shouldn't. If father sees me," said Jeffrey, starting to tremble. Kain decided to mediate, and he entered Kyle's bedroom to borrow one of his action figures, and Kain said, "Here you go, Jeffrey, you can play with Spider-Man, and I will be the Green Goblin." Jeffrey accepted the Spider-Man action figure, and together with Kain they shouldn't play pretend, and it was a bit peculiar for Jeffrey to play with action figures alongside with dolls, and the twins' dollies knew karate, and the game ended when Stacy announced that the entertainment had arrived. And instead of a traditional clown, she had hired a man in a Spider-Man outfit. The twins were going through a Spider-Man phase, and Jeffrey was surprised to see a Spider-Man in a girl's birthday party of all things. The entertainer was athletic with a strong well-toned legs and a big caboose, and he started doing cartwheels that ended in a somersault, and the children ran after him completely amused by his gymnastics. Even the adults clapped at such a display of athleticism. The man hiding behind the Spider-Man mask was called Oberon Mendel. He was 25 years old, and he had trained as an Olympic gymnast for his entire youth. And his Olympic dreams came to an end when he was exiled from his own family. And without their financial support, he had no other choice but to get a day job. He still practiced gymnastics, mostly for the exercise, and what little skill remained from his prime years he utilized to entertain small children while dressed in a Spider-Man costume. This odd job didn't earn him much, but it allowed him to make use of his talents. At the end of his performance, they took a bow and his audience cheered, and he collapsed in the first chair he found. He got up quickly enough to get his picture taken with the guests. He was exhausted, but the show had to go on. Kain did the line with his little nieces, and meanwhile Stacy was whispering into the ear of every pretty lady at the party. The only woman that she didn't speak to was Lysandra. A trap for her was being made, and Kain reached the end of the line and he took a photograph with Spider-Man and his nieces. "Take another photo," said Oberon. "This time remember to smile, citizen." Kain forced a fake smile, and he breathed a sigh of relief when he was able to stop smiling. He no longer needed to pretend to be happy. He removed a tear from the corner of his eyes before it had a chance to drop, and he lowered himself to hug his nieces, and he took comfort in the thought that they were going to love him forever as long as he continued to spoil them. The food was served, and the cake was cut. Oberon nibbled on everything before dumping into his Tupperware whatever he wanted to take home. He was a terrible cook, and he was tired of ordering out. While the children's birthday party was almost over, Kain needed to find someone to give the movie tickets to, and the reservation could be cancelled, but the movie tickets were non-refundable. Stacy clicked her soda bottle to get everyone's attention. "Guys, we have one final party game, and this game is only for grown-ups, and my nephew Kain has a restaurant reservation and movie tickets, but he needs a date," explained Stacy, and she added, raising a bouquet of daisies. "Whoever catches this bouquet gets to go on a date with my nephew. A crowd of young ladies gathered together in order to catch the bouquet, and Carina also participated to swell up the number. Eugenia wanted to help, but she chose not to. With a baby on board, she couldn't risk getting elbowed or shoved about. The crowd made Lysandra realize that Kain was in high demand, and she began to rethink of her first impression of Kain, and she was snapped from her reverie by her son Jeffrey. "Go, Mom, go catch a bouquet, and win us a free dinner and those 2 movie tickets," yelled Jeffrey. He hadn't understood the nature of the game. Since she was being pressured by her son, Lysandra went to catch the bouquet, and a thin smile was painted on Kain's lips while he held the bouquet. It flattered his wounded pride to see Lysandra come crawling back, and he turned around before throwing the bouquet, and it was then when something unexpected happened. Spider-Man leaped up from within the crowd, and he caught the bouquet before anyone was able to stop him, and due to his short height for a man, nobody had noticed that he had sneaked into the crowd of ladies. Lysandra, annoyed, said, "Very funny, clown. Now give me the bouquet." "No, I want this bouquet fair and square, and the hostess never said that Kain's date had to be a woman. Now, if you excuse me, I shall claim my prize," said Oberon cockily. Kain, laughing, said, "Adios, adios. Come, Spider-Man, claim your prize." Oberon ran up to Kain and he threw him over his shoulder before running out of the garden. And while he ran, Oberon kept singing the theme of the Spider-Man cartoon. Na 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 na. Everyone laughed, thinking that it was a joke, and when Oberon drove away with Kain, Jack started to worry, and he coughed nervously before calling his son, and he breathed a sigh of relief when Kain answered the call. "I'm fine, Dad, you can relax," said Kain. "Are you really going on a date with a clown?" asked Jack. "Might as well," said Kain. "The alternative is to give what's-her-name another chance, and frankly, I'm not in the mood to deal with her indecisiveness." Jack reluctantly ended the call. His son sounded happy, and this was a good thing. He went to Stacy to ask her about the performance she had hired. Her husband's background check had brought up nothing serious, just a few speeding violations. Oberon was a promiscuous bachelor, and his motto was soul over body, but the reality was that if he had a hole, there was a good chance that he would try to mate with it. Oberon removed his Spider-Man mask to better ogle at his prize, and Kain was oblivious to the leering look since he was far too busy admiring the car. It was a neon blue Ford Mustang, 1968. Oberon, laughing, shouted, revved out the engine to make his car roar, and when the line turned green, he placed pedal to the metal. "Slow down," protested Kain, starting to hyperventilate. "Come on, Kain, and where's your sense of adventure?" insisted Oberon, speeding down the Okeechobee Highway. So now we see why Oberon gets like a lot of speeding tickets. Like he tends to in order as a peacocking strategy, he tends to make the car go really really fast whenever he wants to impress a date. "You don't even know where we're going," whined Kain. "We are stopping at my apartment for a second, and I need to change out of this stupid get-up," said Oberon. "That was a red light you just passed. If you don't slow down, you're getting a ticket," warned Kain. Oberon, laughing, pushed the accelerator to maximum, and his fun came to an end when he felt something cold against his temple, and he slowed down his car to a crawl when he saw the police badge, and with the car going at the speed limit, Kain was able to relax somewhat. Oberon arrived to Lago Grande, and he punched in his code to enter the gated apartment community, and he parked the car and he opened the door, and he extended his hand to compel the moody Kain to leave the car. After sitting there for 10 minutes, Kain reluctantly left the car. Oberon took Kain's hand and he kissed it before saying, "The name is Oberon Mendel, and it's nice to meet you, Kain." "I already know," said Kain, trying to free his hand. You do. "I think I'm starting to remember you." "Yes, Kain dear, I never forget a hand," said Oberon, caressing Kain's hand with his thumbs. "Yes, your hand is familiar. You are the drunkard that puked up the bathroom of my former night job. You made quite a mess." "I wasn't drunk, just stressed, and I puke when I'm stressed," said Kain, wiggling his hand around to try to escape Oberon's grasp. Oberon, giggling, pulled at Kain's hand to get him to come into the condo, and he swung the door open before yelling, "Ta-da!" "Welcome home," said two maidens raiding his fridge. "Oh, that's right, I forgot that you girls were here," said Oberon, remembering last night's treat. "Date night is over. Arrivederci," Since the maidens were not leaving, Oberon threw their purse and their shoes out of the balcony. The maidens finally left the home of the rude Oberon, and with these problems out of the way, he was able to enter his bedroom to change out of his costume. Kain placed Oberon's leftover in the refrigerator, and he grimaced when he saw the interior. There was a lot of expired items stinking up the place. He moved away from the fridge before sitting down on the couch, and ever the need free, he took the issue with the dirty dishes, the crumbled shirt resting in the rocking chair, and the cushions on the floor. Oberon left his bedroom for a second to see what hour they had the dinner reservation, and since they had 2 hours to kill, Oberon was able to shower off the filth. He purposely left the bathroom door open, and he frowned with disappointment when he noticed that Kain wasn't peeping. Oberon had an athletic, tan body, and his round face had a bit of a childish charm to it due to his elegant nose and large, expressive brown eyes with long eyelashes. And he got dressed in jeans and a pink Floyd shirt, and he styled his dyed green hair to the side. And once he felt cool enough, he returned to the living room, and he laughed heartily when he saw Kain doing the dishes, and everything was tidy, even the furniture had been dusted. Oberon opened his mouth before closing it again, and he didn't know what to say or how to react to what Kain had done, and this was the first time his date had cleaned up his apartment. And they left the apartment without speaking a word, and the awkward silence followed them to the car. "We are going to Café Catula," said Kain, guiding Oberon to the restaurant. When they arrived, Oberon commented, "I think we came a little underdressed." "It's fine, don't worry about it. Eugenia knows the owner and we can wear whatever we want," said Kain, sitting down. Oberon took in the scenery while Kain studied the menu, and the restaurant had an elegant white and orange walls and a few statues for decoration, and the ceiling was high with small orange lights. Oberon couldn't remember the last time he went to a nice restaurant. "Are you paying for everything, or are we splitting the bill?" asked Oberon, worried. "It is customary for the man to pay for everything on the first day," said Kain dryly. "Oh boy," said Oberon, looking at the prices. "If I let you be the man, will you pay for everything?" "I wasn't aware that I needed your permission to be a man," said Kain, closing the menu. He wasn't happy with the situation, but Oberon's casual flirting kept Kain from thinking about Eugenia. They ordered the food, and Oberon had the escargot appetizers and a mimosa for a drink, filet mignon with white rice and sweet plantains for the main course, and a chocolate souffle for dessert. Kain ordered the Caesar salad, the ricotta and spinach ravioli, and a coconut flan. Oberon crumbled up the complimentary bread nervously, and he needed vocal confirmation that he wasn't going to pay for the entire meal. When the appetizer arrived, Oberon asked the waiter to take it away, and he no longer wanted to eat it or pay for it. "I am going to pay for everything, so relax. Enjoy your escargot," said Kain, stabbing at his salad without much enthusiasm. He wasn't hungry, but he needed to maintain his weight. Oberon munched on the escargot with gusto, and when he saw that Kain had left his salad half-eaten, he took the salad leftovers to devour it as well. And with the appetizers completely consumed, Oberon attempted small talk. "Are you a power dog, or is passivity more your style?" asked Oberon. "I don't understand your questions," asked Kain, not familiar with Oberon's euphemism. "Kain, are you gay?" asked Oberon more directly. Kain rolled his eyes before rubbing his temple, and he said after sipping his soda, "What I am is none of your business. I am not sleeping with you, so get your head out of the gutter." "Are you bi?" asked Oberon. "No," said Kain flatly. "Are you curious?" asked Oberon. What a bother," said Kain, sighing wearily, and his face blushed an exquisite pink. He was often shy with strangers. "Why is it a bother?" asked Oberon. "Why do you feel uncomfortable talking about your sexuality?" Kain reached into his back pocket to bring out his headset, and he blasted into his ear heavy metal music. Oberon watched this scene with mild amusement, and he giggling changed his seat to sit beside the moody Kain, and he removed one of the headsets to listen to the music. "System of a Down, you have great taste in music. When you get bored of them, I will be more than happy to recommend you other heavy metal bands that you can listen to," said Oberon, returning Kain's headset. Kain sighed wearily before removing both headsets, and he looked about the restaurant, and other diners were staring at him and Oberon, and a few were even pointing and joking. He felt ashamed for such a childish behavior. sign, he asked, and what bands would you recommend? Oberon ranted about all the heavy metal bands he knew, and the conversation died when the main course arrived. Oberon ate much while Kain ate very little. What is it like being an entertainer? Asked Kain, and he felt that calling Oberon a clown was offensive. That is quite a nice way of putting it, and my clown is just a sidekick, and I'm really a bouncer, and it pays decent enough considering my education or lack thereof, said Oberon after he finished eating his meal, and he hadn't noticing Kain's half-eaten plate. Are you going to eat half that? No, I already done with my plate, said Kain, handing his plate over to Oberon. Oberon took a few bites before asking for a box for leftover, since he was so full the desserts were also packed. The final stop was a movie theater, and Oberon frowned when he realized that his date was almost over, and he drove 5 miles under the speed limit, and he wanted to extend his date for as long as possible. And during the red light, he tried his final gambit. Are you seeing anyone? Asked Oberon. No, I'm single, and not because I want to. My ex-girlfriend didn't give me a choice in the matter. She dumped me, said Kain bitterly. Do you want to be my boyfriend? Asked Oberon, giggling. I'm good at disguises, and you won't be able to tell that you're sleeping with a man. Anything to eat a free meal, said Kain, turning his gaze. His eyes were lost over the horizon, and he thought of the 2 women that Oberon had unceremoniously thrown out of his apartment, and he fancied that Oberon would get rid of him as well as soon as he fed his lust demon. It isn't just about the free meal, and I truly do enjoy your company, Kain, said Oberon, taking Kain's hand. I don't believe you, but thank you for lying to me, said Kain before sighing again, and he was certain that Oberon was only being nice to him to get into his jeans. Oberon reluctantly released Kain's silky masculine hand, and after a short 20-minute ride, they arrived at IMAX Theater in Dolphin Mall. Kain bought popcorn and a soda for Oberon, and Oberon didn't know what to expect of the movie. The Scary Movie 3, and he rarely watched television or movies, and while watching the trailers he began to plan. If it was a true horror movie, he would scream for attention. If it was a comedy, he would laugh only if Kain laughed. The movie began. It was a horror comedy. Oberon found himself laughing for real at the parodies of the movies he had never seen, and he sipped his soda before munching on the popcorn, and he turned to look at Kain. Kain was smiling. It was a thin, shy smile, and the movie had temporarily made Kain forget about Eugenia, and before they knew it, the film had come to an end. Alright, that's the end of that one. Bye-bye and God bless.